All right, welcome to the D-constructing Topic podcast. My name is David. I had to chill with the small little intro before I get the funny little red flags, but it is that time of the year. It is football season, and welcome to the legendary podcast. My name is David, and I'm your host of this legendary podcast, the D-constructing Topic podcast. And we got a good one because we're talking football. Let's make it happen. And woo, today we got like a little preview show. You know what I mean? Talking about, and then when I say preview, we're not talking about the weekly stuff. We just kind of got a little bit of prediction, more or less, a little kind of fun thing going on there. But we are into the 2025 NFL season, which my understanding is the 106th season of NFL football. Woo! So if you're 106 or you gonna turn 106, God bless your soul. I've been watching football, or at least I've been a fan of football since 1990. Yes, that is correct. And I'm a big Giants fan. So 1990, Giants Super Bowl winners. We making it happen. And hey, listen, I tell people, I'll be straight up. I wasn't born in this country. I was born in an island that we don't even know much football. You know what I mean? So I came in here illegally to this country just to watch football. And I kid you not, because I know some people might just say, well, why are you illegally? Wait a minute. Yes, and I'm only kidding. Some people might say, hey, let me call like ice, baby, no, let's go. But anyways, we definitely got a good one. Hey, hit the like, comment, feel free to share. Talk to me. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Whatever the case might be, we got the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions, and I hate to say it, the Philadelphia Eagles. And from Philly is a character called Rocky Balboa, but no, Philadelphia is the real thing. Ain't no funny stuff there. Ain't no cream cheese going on there because they finally have won the big one after a couple of years. Once again, the Eagles, hey, believe it or not, when it comes to, I can't say a dynasty, but hey, in the last 10 years, the Eagles have made, 3 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken, and, they won 2, one against the Patriots years ago, and then one last year against the Chiefs, so we making it happen. Ow! Let's make it happen. Yeah, just hit the comment and talk to me about what's going on. And lo and behold, because we are talking about the Eagles, or what I call them, the Eaglets. Let's talk about the NFC East, where the New York Football Giants, is in with a couple of other teams, the Washington Commanders. And to this day, look, listen, I'll be straight up. I really don't care no more about whatever, Redskins, Commanders. I'm so used to the Commanders. It's still Washington, you know what I mean? Unless they're going to change the name to like the Swamp City, Redskins or something to that effect. No, it's still Washington, whatever the case. And we got the Dallas Cowboys, with all due respect. Sometimes I call them something different, but hey, this is a kids family-friendly show, I believe. And if it's not, hey, you let me know. But we're talking football, so right, it is. And we got the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants heading to the NFC East. My prediction, the Philadelphia Eagles, great offense. They got my boy Barkley. You already know. Just, sometimes they might be inconsistent. You just sometimes never know. But at the end, when they get hot. They will score. And they will score. And then, the fact that when they were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, you got Kansas City Chiefs. They are a high-scoring team, but not as much as before. But the Eagles, they light it up. Hurts, Brown, whatever the case might be. So I got the Eagles winning the NFC East. Basically, and I'm only going to predict division winners. We're not going to go to the playoff thing. We're not going to go whatever the case might be. But hey, listen, if you go back, whenever the Super Bowl is of this year, and then you go back and you listen to this podcast, and you be like, okay, he predicted this. Fine, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. If there's a team between the Giants, Cowboys, and the Commanders, I'm a Giants fan. It's crazy how the Giants fan, we celebrating a Super Bowl. We act like we won the Super Bowl just because you got a couple of draft picks. Hey, listen, the draft picks is what makes a team whatever, like the Eagles. Draft picks, free agency, a little bit of everything. Great move, good moves. But damn, Giants fan, Let's win a Super Bowl. Then we celebrate. We like the Knicks fan. You know what I mean? It's been a long time that we got to the championship like Knicks fan. We win a playoff game and so relax. Let's make it happen. The Cowboys just traded Michael Parsons, so we don't know what's going on in the locker room there. Dallas is Dallas, and every year Dallas is Dallas is Dallas. It seems that Dallas is always every year in the top 5 contenders. I'll be honest with you. That's what it is. It is America's team, but they haven't done nothing. They have not won a Super Bowl in God knows how long, 20-something years. And then Commanders. So once again, I got the Eagles. If, and only if, because Commanders came from a good season, and then, they sign up the wide receiver McLaren or whatever. So, okay, all right, whatever was going on, they fixed it. Look, if there was a dark horse team to win, I will say the Commanders in terms of that division. But hey, I digress. The Eagles, division winner, and I'm going to say the Eagles as the Super Bowl defending champion will do it again. But again, that's just my prediction. But hey, what's your prediction? Let's go. We're going to go to the NFC North, where you got the Bears, the Chicago Bears, the Bears. We got the Green Bay Packers. They just made some moves. The Chiefs had Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota. Let's go. And then Detroit Lions. Who I got here? I got a soft spot for this Detroit Lions team. And if I'm not mistaken, Detroit Lions, and there's another team out there. I believe it's the Jaguars. But I'm going to emphasize more on Detroit Lions, because Detroit Lions been in. So if the NFL it's 106 years, I think the Lions been 105. I'm just saying. But the sad thing is that they never appear on a Super Bowl. Now keep in mind, doesn't mean that there was no championship back then. Back then there was. But in the current state of Super Bowl, they never been, obviously they never won, whatever the case might be. So I'm rooting for Detroit. I like Detroit in this division. They just need to get over the hump, because they at the end of the day, there's a reason, right? They never been to a Super Bowl, right? You got that cloud over your head that you can. Well, Dan Campbell and the boys, they got a good team. But let's see. Hopefully, there's not they're down, because the Lions are that type of team. One year they're doing their thing. You said, okay. Just like when back then growing up, they had Barry Sanders. Once in a while, they surround, Barry Sanders with some good players. But then the next year, it's Detroit. Detroit Lions is they are the NFC version of the Cleveland Browns, just about. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think Cleveland Browns, that other team too, that never appear in a Super Bowl. Okay, let's get it. But anyways, Minnesota Vikings, good team, but let's see what happens. Once again, the thing with the Vikings is interesting, because they always tend to be they got ballers out there. They got ballers, and for years they've been consistent, but they, once again, just cannot get over that hump. For some reason, they cannot get over that hump. Perhaps this year, the NFC North is looking a little bit open. No funny stuff there, man. But a little bit open, because we got the Packers, the Cheesehead, the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean? Now, the Green Bay Packers, once again, they making moves. They just made a couple of moves there, trying to amp up that little defense. But the fact is that, let's see. The Packers, again, it's one of those teams that, okay, looks good, quarterback play, Jordan Love, whatever the case might be. It looks like they're doing some moves, but they fall short once again. The NFC North, for some reason, I'm gonna get to the Bears. For some reason, those three teams they show that they can, but they just fall short, basically. And it's been a while since the NFC North kind of wins a Super Bowl in those teams right there. So hey, listen, whatever the case might be, we already know, because we have. You already know this team. The Bears. Anyways, the Bears. Yes, the Bears. Chicago Bears. They got to get their stuff together. I don't know if they're going to win this. There's not much that really to say about the Bears, but they're just the Bears. It's one of those, okay, can they do it this year? Can they start winning? Can they do it? It's always that thing with the Bears. And when they start, they get glimpse of a little something going on. Okay, we got this, we got that, whatever the case might be. But they just can't seem to get over the hump of actually getting there. NFC North, basically, Detroit Lions. If I had a team to say, perhaps little dark horse, I would say the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota. We got the NFC South. We got the NFC South here. You already know. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Woo. We got the New Orleans Saints doing their thing. Maybe they're doing their thing. I don't know. And Carolina Panthers. You already know, but you don't know. Let's see what happens. And then you got the Atlanta Falcons coming up. This is a strange kind of, how can I say to you? The NFC South is a little bit strange. You know what I mean? Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the team that I have to win the division. I don't know what I could say about the Saints, Panthers, and Atlanta Falcons. Now, Atlanta Falcons, between those three teams, is the team that might have a little better, clearer picture, with quarterback play, whatever the case might be. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think that they're all gonna be fighting each other for that division. I think like the only team, or how can I say, there's gonna be one of those divisions that basically they're only gonna have one team representing, and it's the division winner. I just don't think that the other three teams, the Saints, the Panthers, the Falcons. And listen, I got a little soft heart for the Pack. The Falcons doing their thing, but Tampa Bay, with Mayfield and all them boys, you already know they're more seasoned. So I got Tampa Bay. If I was to say pick a little dark horse to kind of win the division, Atlanta Falcons. If they get Michael Penix, whatever the case might be. Yeah, it kind of sounds a little bit, but it's Penix with an X. Let's go. If he gets that thing, I like that kid. He throws. He got a lot of zip on that arm. But if they could get over once again, consistent. Watch out now for Atlanta. On the next one, we got the NFC West. The NFC West. Ooh, we going west side. Let's go. We got the LA Rams. That's correct. The LA Rams. Yep. Sounds like about right. We got the San Francisco 49ers. Get me that gold rush. We got the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if I'm supposed to go but it's the Arizona Cardinals. And then we got Seattle Seahawks here. Not much to say. I think this is one of those things where it's like a two-team division where they're going to be added at each other. There's two rivalries, the Rams, the 49ers. They've been rivals. Woo! And I'm not trying to say anything bad about Cardinals. Hey, listen, they need to step up. It ain't like they don't have players. They have some players. And Seattle Seahawks, a brand new of a little bit of everything. I got the Rams winning this one for some reason. McVay, Rams, whatever. They find ways. Now, there's going to be question with the 49ers once again, whatever. If 49ers could keep healthy, they could be that team that could, say, let's go out and then we could battle the Philadelphia Eagles for that NFC to represent them in the Super Bowl. But, hey, listen, the Rams is the Rams. A couple of years ago, they went to the Super Bowl. The 49ers, consistent team in the last 10 years, but they just never won. Even probably go a little bit longer. We're talking about in the last 15 years, 49ers is a team that you could see them playing. You could see them out there. You could see them in the NFC title. You could see them, hey. Even in the Super Bowl, but they just can't get over that hump. But they're one of the most consistent teams out there. Even me growing up in the 90s, all I heard, Joe Montana. Jeez. I love Joe Montana so much that, I take it back. I hated him so much that I played the video game, Sega Genesis. Welcome to Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. What a great game. But we here, so again, I got the Rams winning. If I had a dark horse, the easy route would be the San Francisco 49ers. Again, they are a seasoned team. They got seasoned veterans, whatever the case might be. Again, this NFC West is kind of like always, it's kind of lately been like a two teams, and then once again, maybe you get the Cardinals. One of them got to step up. But that's the NFC West. In all, I have to represent the NFC, which is the National Football Conference. Let's go. I have the Philadelphia Eagles representing the NFC East. The NFC in the Super Bowl. If I had a team to say it's a dark horse, and again, just me rooting just for some reason, it's the Detroit Lions. So let's get it. Let's go to the AFC Football Conference. Yes, the AFC Football Conference. Let's go. Let's give it a little clap, 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 clap for the AFC. Once again, the American Football Conference. We got that conference down pat. And let's start with the AFC East with the Miami Dolphins, which I call them Tudor. I know one of my brothers in arms is a big Dolphins fan, but for some reason, every time I go to the tuna aisle, if there's a such thing as an aisle, you already know where they got those tuna. For some reason, I always remind myself of the Dolphins. And I do not condone anybody out there going out there trying to eat a dolphin. No. We're talking about tuna. But anyways, Miami Dolphins, we got the New England Patriots who, at one point, there was something. At one point, they were like the Empire. At one point, they were the most hated team. Now they just back to the New England Patriots. Whatever. But hey, listen. Much respect to the people out there in Boston. We got Buffalo Bills. Woo, and then we got no other than the New York Jets. Jets. Boo. You know, come on, man. Really? No, but I'm a New York Giants fan. Hey, I respect the New York Jets. In this division, we got a little weird one. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East. And I'm going to say that I got Buffalo, perhaps this time, once and for all for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And I got a soft heart for the Buffalo Bills as well, and I would like them to win the Super Bowl. And I got them favorite. So that's my favorite. I'm giving you spoilers of Buffalo Bills kind of prediction to win the Super Bowl. We got the Jets, you know what I mean? Let's see what happens. Once again, with the Jets, it's like the Jets is interesting because they enter seasons with this bravado. This is our year. This is this is that. That's that. They always, because the Jets, let's be honest with you, we got they only won one Super Bowl. So it ain't like they have a history of kind of saying, hey, we won 5 Super Bowls. We're going to get back to that top of the game, whatever it is. Their brand is always, yeah, this is our season. We're going to play New York Jets football. And I'm like, you know what? Come on now. Come on now. But as the Jets, let's make it happen. But we got the Patriots. I don't know. I don't know about the Patriots. Once again, it's up and down ever since Tom Brady and whatever the case might be. So it's all up and down. I don't know about this year. Then we got the Dolphins. Interesting team. You already know what this team can do if Tua stays healthy. And we already know that they could score. But if you look at the Dolphins and the times that they made it to the playoff in the last couple of times, whatever it is, at the end, when it comes to the playoff, it just doesn't look like the right team. It doesn't look like the team that you just saw in the regular season. So with that said, the Buffalo Bills, division winner. If I had to pick the dark horse to make it happen, if I have the dark horse, there would definitely be the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they got ballers. I'm just saying. Sometimes that Miami Heat, that could get to you. You know what I mean? That could exhaust you a little bit. But hey, AFCs, we got the Buffalo Bills. Then we head to the AFC North, where every team sounds the same, looks the same. I don't know. The AFC North is just kind of like a hard-hitting kind of division where we got the Baltimore Ravens. Whatever the case might be. I'm my own soundboard. Whatever. We got the Cleveland Browns. And we got the Cleveland Browns. I think I'm just gonna leave that the Cleveland Browns just as that. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel City, let's go. And Cincinnati Bengals. Ooh, this one. All right, so this is where my thing would be. Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is just like Buffalo. They play good in the, regular season. You already know Jackson, them boys, they know how to play. Hardball, they know how to play. But when it comes to, let's just say that there's a kryptonite that seems to get to the playoff every time, and that crypto night basically is the Kansas City Chiefs, where it looks like the Ravens and the Buffalo cannot get over that hump. So on this one, with Baltimore, I got them winning the AFC North. And then we got the Browns. We got the Browns. No disrespect to those Cleveland Browns fans out there. But you already know, being a Cleveland Brown fan, it's a little bit tough. Once again, if I'm not mistaken, they never been into the Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl era as we speak. There were times that were close. You already know, back in the 80s, those games against the Broncos, you already know, I ain't going to remind nobody. But anyways, I did. And I got Browns, all right? We got the Steelers. The Steelers is always the Steelers, as long as Mike Tomlin is there. The thing with the Steelers is that, in my understanding, Mike Tomlin, he never had a losing season, meaning that it's always at least 500, 8-8, whatever it is, now. But I personally think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they must show up. They got to get to this, back to the playoff, whatever it is. Again, ever since after Big Ben, the team is trying to find a different identity. They still that balling, running defense, whatever the case. Let's see. Cincinnati Bengals, we cannot call them the Bungles anymore. They the Bengals. They got ballers out there, man. And Cincinnati, it's kind of like Cleveland in a sense where their history, it's a little bit kind of very inconsistent. And when they do become something, for some reason, there's a little bit of overhype. A little bit of, me growing up, in the 90s, Cincinnati Bengals was just that one team, but they just, now they got ballers. And for a few years, they've been having ballers, Burrow, you already know, Chase, but can they stay healthy? Can they find a way to say, this is where we did this, and it's enough to get us to win? So if I was to pick the AFC North, it would be the Ravens, but the Bengals are not too far. But again, they just need to, click, They need to win. They can be like, start, let's say 1-4, and then out of nowhere get hot, and then be 5-4. They can't be like, start at 5-1, then get warm, and then they like 5-4, because those inconsistent, at the end of the day, that's what gets you to win your division is your record versus the person that's under you or on top of you. So basically, Cincinnati, you already know. But since we are in the North, we now are heading to the South, and this is probably the one division that I'm like, okay, who? And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody there. When I mean by who, it's like, who's going to win it? We got the Tennessee Titans. Yes, the Tennessee Titans. I remember when there used to be Houston Oilers back then. And then talking about the Houston Oilers, then we got the Houston Texans. And that's the reason why there's that team, because the Houston Oilers decided to move. So we got the Houston Texans. We got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts. Pat McAfee over there. He's a big Colts fan. Used to play with the Colts, whatever the case. And we got Jacksonville Jaguars, who I would say, QB over there in Jacksonville, you already know, needs to step up. Now, this division, it's one of those, where I'm like, all right, I could go the easy route to say Houston Texans, because that team is balling. And I'm going to say Houston Texans. My problem when it comes to, especially in this division, and I kind of noticed this, is that when we got that one team, which is the Houston Texans, boom, division, good team, division winner last year, if I'm not mistaken. Now this year they're going to do it again. It's sometimes very rare when those teams in that division do the back-to-back, because one year we got the Jaguars doing their thing, the next year is like, blah, then somebody steps up, then whatever. But Houston Texans is the team that I have. They balling. CJ Stroud, they balling. Tennessee Titans, let's see. Tennessee Titans, they trying. I'm not sure if they have enough to get over the hump. Let's see what happens. The Colts, I don't know. They are another team that it's on that consistently inconsistent. So I don't know. I think they're just not going to have a good year. But hey, listen, I'm not I'm a football fan. You know what I mean? I'm just saying sometimes when it comes to the NFL, it's very unpredictable. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they got ballers too. They got some players too. once again, this AFC South is about that. Who could get over the hump? And if they get over the hump, isn't enough to win the division. Hey, we're looking at you, Jags. We're looking at you, Colts. We're looking at you, Titans. Get over the hump to win the division. I think, once again, the AFC South is one of those basically where you're not going to get, like 2 teams in the playoff. Whoever's in the division, that's it. Boom, boom. They'll be representing that team. And once again, the Texans. If I had a dark horse to say, Jacksonville. Because Trevor Lawrence from Jacksonville. What I'm saying, you want to be up there, amongst the elite of the elite. And if you're Jacksonville, and if you're not getting enough, or you're trading him to another team, whatever it is, that's all I could say about Jags. So we got the Texans, but the dark horse would be to win that division, the Jags, just because I think that this is the season where they're going to definitely have to do something. And lastly, but not least, like always, we got the AFC West. Woo, we got ballers out there. You already know. The AFC defending champion. The team that seems to, be all over the place, where people hate. Taylor Swift, Kelsey, Mahomes, referees. Kansas City Chiefs is what the Patriots was at one point, but whatever the Cowboys were at one point, these are the teams that always pop up and you probably say, hey, the NFL is rigged, but Kansas City Chiefs, AFC West, we got no longer the Oakland, you already know. It's Las Vegas Raiders. Representing Las Vegas Raiders. We got Los Angeles Chargers, which that doesn't ring. LA Rams, yeah, LA Chargers, I don't know, man. San Diego Chargers, that sounds a little bit better, but LA, whatever it is, that's their name for quite a while. And then you got the Denver Broncos. And this division is one of the more, again, interesting, but it seems that this is that one division that you kind of have an idea who's going to win. You know what I'm saying? Which is the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. And that's who I have. And then you see the other 3 teams. Hey, I'm not knocking them. But sometimes it feels like the other 3 teams are more buying into a playoff spot more than anything. Raiders? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if they really are ready to get over that hump. Once again, they in Vegas. I'm just saying. They need to win. Wink, wink, wink. But you already know. We got the Chargers. LA Chargers. Now, LA Chargers could definitely give a competition to the Chiefs. They do got ballers out there. And they make strides. You already know the coach out there, Harbaugh. They make strides. But this is, it kind of goes back to kind of Chargers. It's kind of a little bit like the Jags. But, your quarterback needs to do something, and they need to do something where it justifies that money that they're getting paid. If not, maybe they got to think about, possible trade. You're paying people $100 million, $150 million, for what? You know what I mean? But that's what's going on with that situation. With the Chargers, they have to. Now, Broncos, I don't know what direction the Broncos is. The Broncos is interesting because they could be like, all right, we could be good or we could be real bad. So, I don't think that those 3 teams that I just mentioned, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, I don't think that any of those 3 teams would take over the Chiefs. But if I had to pick a dark horse, I'm going to go with the Chargers. And possibly, maybe they could get over a little hump with the Chiefs. But again, you got to beat the Chiefs. And you got to win games. And you got to win games in your division. And you got to win games outside of your division, basically. And that's my little football prediction. So just division winners and, little dark horse on who would be the other. Once again, my prediction for the Super Bowl will be the Philadelphia Eagles with the Bills. I would like to see the Lions. Again, that's my so far. And I would like to see the Lions and the Bills, in which I had them last year. You got the Ravens still amongst the best. And then, again, in the NFC, you might have, you're going to have the Eagles, the Lions, perhaps the Vikings. 49's not too far, in the event, I'm just saying. But that's what's going on with this. Hopefully you enjoyed this. We're going to do another football preview of the schedules or whatever it is. Hopefully I'll turn this into a weekly show. My name is David, and I'm your host of the Deconstructing Topic podcast. And I'm out of here. Much love. You already know. Like, comment, and share. Let's make it happen. I'm out. Peace.